Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm here with MC Eliminate, DJ is Lord, and DJ Chuck the Old Soul of Honor Flow Productions. They've just released their newest single, Cruise Control, and I cannot wait to hear all about it. Boys, how are you doing today?
Man, we're
Not
good,
too
Austin. How you
bad.
doing?
Fantastic,
Nice.
man.
It
Fantastic.
looks like we've got an LA party on our hands, which does not happen often. So I'm super excited
All
to
day,
be
every
talking
day.
to the locals. How's everyone doing this weekend so far? How's Memorial Day treating you?
Good.
Man, not too
Hard,
bad.
brother.
Just trying to enjoy a weekend.
Yeah. Well, I
I
hope
don't
that this
know.
is one of the highlights at least.
I
Oh,
don't know,
absolutely.
Oh,
man. I don't
definitely.
know. I don't know about it being a weekend. I've been working all this weekend,
You,
DJing
you,
back to
you,
back.
you had a gig last night, Lord.
Yeah, dude. And then I got hired to do a wedding on Tuesday,
It
last
on
night.
wait. The
Dang.
wedding is Tuesday.
Yeah. Like
Snaps.
they were gonna do like, oh, we're just gonna do a Spotify playlist. And I was like, you ain't gonna do
Never
that.
works.
Yeah, so it was like last minute, and I was like, yeah, sure, it's in North Hollywood. It's very
Sure.
like low key, but
Sure, it's not a
uh
shotgun wedding.
no. They've been together for 17 years. It's
Okay,
just
okay,
like
okay.
they
Oh
just
wow.
decided to do it. But yeah, so it's not much of a weekend. DJs are Monday start on Thursdays since everything's like reopening up and stuff.
True.
And shout out to Keepers, keeping me employed in downtown LA
Nice.
residency. So
I'm happy
great.
to hear gigs are back. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
man.
Like
Yeah,
this soon. That's fantastic.
It is, man. It is.
things are completely opening back. Obviously the state doesn't open up to the 15th, but I feel like this is
Right.
the unofficial. This weekend is the unofficial reopening
Oh,
because like everybody
100%.
and their mama is out already,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a fact. Yeah. Even just walking out for a minute, it's like, oh, what happened over the past year? But
There's traffic.
traffic's
That's the
Oh,
come
only
back.
that's the
it's
only thing I
back.
don't
That's
miss.
not new.
That's
That's
what I
not
don't
new.
miss.
Traffic again. Oh no. Nah, man. It's a gloomy LA day, but we're enjoying the time to chill, and I'm just waiting for this Laker victory today, man. That's what I'm waiting
Oh,
on.
yes, please.
Wait on this
That's
Laker
definitely
won
on
a
the
3-1.
agenda today. Well, again, I want to thank you guys for coming on, and I can't wait to talk about Cruise Control with you. The song goes super hard lyrically. Would you guys mind sort of breaking down the message of it all? What's being spoken about here?
Sure, Cruise Control. It was the last record we recorded for our current album, The Black Odyssey. It actually
Mm-hmm.
was left off. That's why it became a single. The album was just getting too long. It's a 16-track album
Right.
already, and we just don't want to push it anymore. So we love the record, but we just said we do it for another day. But at that point, as anybody can tell, when you write a full record, you're lyrically spent by the end of the process, and you're trying to figure out what to talk about
Uh,
next. So Eliminate and I were actually where I'm at right now is Drake's Den. This is our home studio. This is where we record everything, including
mhm.
Cruise Control. And we sat up here. We're like, what haven't we done yet for this record? And we're like, oh, we haven't done a storytelling song yet. And that's how the concept came up. Eliminate's the one who came up with the title Cruise Control. And it's became this, nighttime in Los Angeles type, storyline. And some of the occasions, some of the situations, like all good music, some were based off of true stories
Mhm.
that we kind of incorporated into one big timeline.
I love that, and I actually listened to the Black Odyssey this morning before speaking with you guys, and I honestly cannot think of a better way to start your morning. That's one of the most like I'm
Thank you.
not just saying that because you're in front of me either. I really do mean that. One of the most like positive, uplifting feeling albums I've listened to in a while. And in addition to Cruise Control, I'd want to talk about the production on it as well, because everything just sounds and flows so perfectly. Like you guys really nailed it. And I also just want to say again, I'm not just saying that because you're right in front of me. I would tell that to a friend, and I'm going to be sending it to my friends as well
Thank you.
to check
Thank
out.
you.
So I definitely want to hear about the production side and how you put it all together. And did it happen in Drake's Den?
It all happened in
yeah.
Drake's Den.
Yeah. All right.
I produced all the records on there. We are very much. It's funny, we're very much. We are a group that's very. We have multiple roles in this group. We're very self-contained. We're
Sure.
very self-contained. So everything was produced and recorded down here, and mixed
Security.
and mastered. mix and mastered down here. And it's just that comfort level. And just to kind of give a quick backstory, this house was built by my grandparents God rest their souls, in 1959. My grandfather came from Kentucky. My grandmother came from the south side of Chicago. And my grandmother, who had her master's in music from the University of New Mexico. So she always invited the creative music in the house. And, you know, in the day of the home studio, and as someone that, you know, we all met in college. So when we recorded in college, I had the gear in my dorm room. So I literally kind of just moved around from spot to spot over the years, and we just found a comfort place in here. And something about the acoustics and the energy in here, and the three of us just huddled in here and just made the music in here. And just, people always ask, so where's the studio at? I'm like,
it's around.
It's around.
It literally in-house. Literally
It's
in-house.
not too far
doesn't
away.
matter.
It's
It
literally
doesn't matter
in-house.
where it is.
You
It
know?
could be, you could have dug a grave. You could have, you know, dug a hole 10 feet in the ground. And if it turned out like this, it doesn't matter where it happened.
Hey
Right.
man, I mean, RZA produced 36 chambers in his apartment, literally in his closet. So
Yeah, there you go.
Right, you think of like Pete
with
Rock,
the
you know.
exception with my scratches, that scratches were recorded here. So
Okay,
So-
at my
okay.
house.
Some were actually recorded. Actually, it's funny of Cruise Control. So a
Yeah.
lot of scratches recorded here in the den.
Mhm.
Cruise Control in particular. Now that Lord brings it up, we
Mhm.
recorded the scratches of those in his kitchen.
Yeah,
We recorded those in
Yeah.
his kitchen.
I just
love
laid out
that.
my turntables and they put it on the counter, like next to the stove, and it's like, all right, man, whatever you got. It's like I came literally straight from work, suit and tie, because I'm also in the legal field, so I'm a paralegal by trade. And so like I came out of court like out 4:30, and he's like, we need to meet, you need to do the scratches, and I'm like, all right, running out the courthouse in downtown with my suit.
That's
And, like,
awesome.
And then it's like I'm in the car, and it's like everything's laid out, and he's like, no, I just like, do I need to take out the turntables? I was like, because he was like really frantic. I don't know what it was, because it was just the energy. And like we did the scratch, I did the scratch, and it was like, tell me what you want. It's like, no, just go at it, just hear the beat and go at it. And I did one scratch, and he was like, that's it, one take. I'm like, really?
Really? I rushed
that-
all the way over here for this.
Sometimes sometimes it only takes
I
one
was like,
take.
That was like the drive from downtown to Mount
Oh,
Washington,
my-
Eagle Rock was longer than the session.
Yeah.
I remember when I came to his house. He was about to leave for a trip into Japan.
Yeah.
I came from
Mhm.
San Diego to kind of take. This is like right after Christmas. Just kind of take some time out time. And I came right to his crib to drop off some CDs he was going to take with him on his trip to Japan.
Mhm.
And that's how we got that done. The vocal sample is a friend of ours who's a fellow artist named Scenario, and he recorded that sample when he was doing other background stuff for TBO and some other stuff we're working on. So this record we've been sitting on for 4 years. And when the pandemic hit, you know, we were promoting the Black Odyssey itself, and I think a lot of artists came to the conclusion of, what are we going to do for the next year? How are we going to extend our brand? How are we going to, you know, like even in this chaotic time, because the last year, obviously, it's an understatement. The word chaotic is an understatement, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But you know, you still want to keep people hopeful and entertained. So Cruise Control there's a couple songs in the vote that didn't make the album, but we feel like this is the best out of them. So we got it done, and it's been sitting around for the right time to put it out. And I think this is the right time, given that everything's kind of starting to open up again, because, you know, it would be very, you know, not a good idea. And I think it would be tone deaf on our part to release an album, a song about cruising around Los Angeles when everybody's at home and supposed to be staying at home.
100%. 100%.
That wouldn't have been a good idea. So, but the production, you know, was all done here. We are very much an eclectic bunch, man. We are a hip hop group, but we listen to everything. It'd be hip hop, soul, funk, house, rock.
Kawaii death metal, Kawaii death
Everything.
metal,
Yep.
Japanese death metal. Yeah.
Hell
definitely.
yeah.
So we do our best to really incorporate all those things into our music, man. And like I said, hip hop's the foundation, but all that makes it in there somehow, some way. So, for us, you know, it's the HFP sound. You know, we wanted to kind of craft our own sound in a way, you know. And
I think
can
you
do
have.
that. And you could do that when it's everybody, you know, does the records in house. Whereas a lot of hip hop records, you have 5, 6, 7 different producers, which that trend
All
didn't
in the videos.
that trend didn't happen
All in
until
the records.
that trend didn't happen until Nas's Illmatic. We had multiple producers, but before that, it was 1 or 2 producers per record, you know. So I think that's why, and we're all sticklers for sequencing. The guys will tell you, like, we will throw a record off an album. Cruise Control was one of them. If it throws off the flow of the sequencing, that's one of the reasons why I wasn't there. So the fact that you picked up on that and commented how well structured the album is, that's a big compliment to us, and we really appreciate you listening.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Yeah, the cohesiveness from start to finish. No, really though, like how it flows from one song to next, and it does create that storyline. That's how I prefer to listen to albums. I think, especially in the music industry nowadays, where everyone is relying on individual single releases to sort of string along their fans.
Yeah.
The way that albums are structured are kind of losing their meaning almost.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are thoughtfully and consciously putting that together and putting together albums how they should be, and kind of alluding to the past a little bit, but also mixing modern takes and a bit of futuristic as well. Like that's the type of music, hip hop or not, that I think that people should be listening to. So
we have a term for that: progressive nostalgia. You take what's best.
There you go.
But you got to put your own 2 cents on it, man, because you got to keep going forward. You can't be a tribute act. You got to. We wear influences on our sleeve. I mean, I'm wearing a Tribe Called Quest shirt in this interview, but we got to do our own thing. We got to do our own thing. Totally. And put our own 2 cents on it. And that's what we intend to do.
Plus, I also believe that it also is an advantage that you got 2 dope DJs in the group.
There you go.
And you have to take into consideration that a lot of DJs too, when they mix, there's really no flow. Like Chuck and I, we do gigs together. So when we DJ, we're very critical, constructively critical of what we do, but very also in the best way cognizant of the music we're playing, plus the crowd that we're looking at and who are playing it too. Sometimes with my style of mixing, I like to do like a storyline. So if I'm playing like a bunch of like love songs or like hip hop, soul, R&B, I do the courtship, I do the dating.
Oh
and
man.
I get to the actual like sexy time, and then from the sexy time we get the breakup, and then it's
bad
like
divorce and 3 kids.
Well, no. Well, before we even get there, we don't just jump to that. We talk about like the cheating part aspect, because that's part of relationships. So last night when I was DJing at like Keepers in downtown, the bartender was like really bigging me up. She was like, I'm a classically trained musician, and the number one thing that I can appreciate, and Chuck can also agree with me, is that when we DJ, we mix in the key. So understanding and mixing the keys, like we also stay not only on the BPMs, but we also stay rhythmically and melodically into the music, into the sound. So she was just like, I love how like you stayed in the pockets of genres. I love how you stayed into like the melodies and rhythms. If you were in a specific genre, you gave us like certain songs that came from that genre and from that time period. I was just like, I'm just doing my job, man. Like Manny Pacquiao, I'm just doing my job. That's it. And amazing. To me, it's like, it's just something that I just like, me and him have figured out. It's a formula that we just subconsciously do as DJs, but then as an educated listener, and a lot of people who were there didn't leave the spot because they were like waiting, like what's he gonna play next? Because every time you go to a spot, you're like, and then you just, let's get out of here. And then they were about to leave, and they're like, no. He threw down Tavares. He threw down like Lisa. Hold on, we need to stay here. Like, and then so. I mean, not to brag or anything, but it's just, I've been doing this for 25 plus years. So I believe it's just that the vision, lack of a better word, Chuck, vision.
That was the name of our first album.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's also like the idea of like vocal vision. It's like when we paint a picture, it's very descriptive, but that canvas is up to you to decide how you want to picture it and paint it, how it relates to you. Right. You know what I mean? So
and I think something we didn't make clear in the beginning, since we're talking about the Black Odyssey, you're asking about concepts. The album itself is about freedom, finding personal freedom. And, we're not talking patriotic stars and stripes freedom, but personal freedom, freedom to be the person you want to, freedom to achieve the things you want to, love the people you want to, it's about finding that. That's why the album ends with the song Joy. Which is going to be the next video we're going to shoot. Let's just put that out there right now. You get an exclusive. We have not said that publicly, so awesome.
I love it.
You guys get the exclusive on that.
And that's my favorite track. That's like the only track on that album that made me tear up. Like when we performed it in Japan in our tour, I was like, hey man, y'all do your thing.
I'll be right back.
Well, I mean, when you trip out, when we talk about that song Joy, that's why it's my favorite track, is not only because of the language barrier, but the fact that people were feeling the songs, and they were like, that's what they said, it transcends time, color, creed, whatever. It relates, it hits. It's like what Bob Marley said, when music hits you, you feel no pain. You know what I mean? Like,
And
then,
Lord's mama gets a shout out on that song.
oh
too.
yeah.
Mama
Very
gets a
much
shout out on
true.
that song.
I love that.
But the concept of that song, the end, the last word we want to leave you with at the end of the album is, no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says or does, and I think definitely right now, status quo, this is important. Like, no one or nothing can steal your joy.
Right.
And that's the last message we leave you with at the end of that album. And I think that's very important right now. So
yeah, now more than ever, for sure.
now more than ever. So that's what the concept of the record was, and how Cruise Control, to talk about how it's kind of rolling it out in kind of a nod to the, we're MTV generation. We watched TRL, Yo MTV Raps. We saw the big rollouts. We went to Virgin Megastore and Tower Records. So it's like, how do we bring that into the 21st century? And that what we've learned is, even though you have a record of 14 to 16 tracks, the way you roll it out still kind of single by single basis. Sure. So every new video is like the album gets a second win, a third win, a fourth win. And then with Cruise Control, we are very much conscientious in branding it as, this is an extension of the Black Odyssey. This isn't something new. Right. The way we put it is, and Eliminate can attest to this, being a veteran of the video game industry, it's the DLC. If the Black Odyssey is the main game, then
couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Then Cruise Control, and then there's an instrumental album that came out called Live from Drake's Den, which is also leftover joints from our creation of the record. They're DLCs, they're an extension of the story.
I love it. And so I don't want to hop too far into the future here, but so I guess Cruise Control would be considered a B-side. Are there any more little gems or nuggets that might see the light of day in the coming months?
I wouldn't say in the coming months. We may have to say that for the 10th anniversary celebration.
Okay.
The Black Odyssey. It's funny. Our debut album Visions just turned 10 last year, and you're like,
congrats.
Oh, thank you. And we're just like, oh my God, it's been 10 years. So we put out a deluxe version of that album. You can find it on our Bandcamp, hipmusic.bandcamp.com. And that's a 22-track. You have the album, you have B-sides, you have unreleased, you have a beat tape attached. So, we keep legacy in mind. Our theory is, and we have a documentary series because we are celebrating our 15-year anniversary as a group this year. Damn. So we're talking about stories about, our past and how certain songs and certain shows, came about. And we have this idea of, you don't tell your history, who will? So it's very much mapped out of, we may hold off on certain B-sides until the 10th anniversary. We'll say this, we are always working. I won't say exactly what's next in terms of the next record, but
that's okay. No need to.
We're always working.
I love it. And so it sounds, it definitely is. You guys have been around for a while. You've been music lovers as a whole. I'd love to hear from you individually. Who sort of inspired you to take this path as a musician when you were younger, and who you're vibing with today as a modern artist that's even in the mainstream and sort of setting the road, setting the, the pavement for the genre at this point?
Eliminate, you want to take it first?
Eliminate can start. Yeah.
No, you can take it first. I still got to tailor my answer.
All right.
I'm on the spot now. I'm anxious.
For me, the moment I realized, and it's funny, I'm wearing a Tribe shirt right now. The moment, I grew up around a musical family.
Sure.
I played saxophone growing up. I mentioned my grandmommy earlier. My dad played drums, my mom played clarinet, my sister plays bass. So music was around. But the moment I realized, and I've been DJing since I was in high school, but the moment I realized I was going to do music for the rest of my life was my first semester at Marymount California University, where I met Eliminate. We met in our orientation group.
Awesome.
And that same week, I saw The Roots at Amoeba. The Roots is my favorite band. They did it in-store. Damn. And I saw A Tribe Called Quest at the Wiltern. So I went with a friend of ours named Buddha, who was an HFP member during those times. We lived in the same house. Mm-hmm. And have you seen the Blues Brothers by chance?
The movie? Yeah.
Okay, so you remember the scene when Jake and Elwood walk into the church and James Brown's preaching and he has that epiphany and he's like, Elwood, we got to get the band back together for the orphanage. He's doing the flips. That was my that was my Belushi moment where when I saw Tribe in concert, it was this overwhelming clarity. Like, I understand. I mean, music was already happening, but but it was that moment of clarity of, I got to do this the rest of my life. And I remember going to another friend of mine at that point, and I was almost in tears when I came back to the dorms. Like, you don't understand. It was like a spiritual experience. Like, I got it. I figured it out. And that's when it was like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
And today, I don't want to take up the entire interview, but in terms of musical, my playlist is too
It
much.
could be an hour conversation.
Yeah,
for sure.
like if we're talking, I was listening to the new DMX album yesterday, which I love. Rock wise, I love Royal Blood. Dance wise, Big Disclosure. In case you're not a fan, I'm afraid to start leaving out people because it would
be impossible.
The playlist generation makes it hard to name a bunch of things. But if you want to know what we're listening to, go listen to Unfold Productions Radio.
There you go.
Unfold Productions Radio. All of our tests are in there. So yeah, man, we're all over the board. As Lord mentioned earlier, as DJs, we're all over the board, man. And like I said, we try to incorporate that in our own DJ sets and our own music. But that Tribe concert was definitely the moment, a clarity moment for me of this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life.
I love it.
Want me to go?
There you go.
I can go.
Lord, go ahead.
Well, of course, being of Filipino American Samoan descent, actually DJing and music saved my life because it was either that or the gang life. And growing up in Echo Park, California, I mean, you either got two decisions. Like you either join up with the gangs because you're a person of color, and that's like, that's how you stayed protected. A lot of my cousins, I won't say their names and I won't, represent the sets that they claim, but it came down to the point where they realized that they noticed I had a gift for music. I just had a knack for music. And just me grabbing vinyls and just playing around and just watching what my cousins did. And, them playing like, highly influenced by 70s funk music, you know what I mean? Like Tavares and just like, even go into like soft rock. Now they call it yacht rock. I don't even know how that term came about, but but
rich white people on yachts, I think. I think that's definitely how it started.
Pretty much. But I feel like they knew that it's like, hey, you don't want to do this, get yourself out of trouble. It was either like you fix cars in our family or you do music, and DJ was my outlet. And I felt like, but I think the record that did it for me, where I was like, I love hip hop, is Rakim's Know the Ledge. And until to this very day, I will argue that Rakim is the #1 best MC out there lyrically. And if you read his book, it's fantastic because like you already know how Rakim sounds, right? So you know his voice. So you're reading the book, you're hearing his voice and you're hearing him rap because in between the pages, he talks about the individual liner loads of like what inspired that line and this line. I didn't know the man, his thought process of writing lyrics, he writes backwards.
How so?
He starts, so like usually it's like bar for bar for bar for bar for bar, every 16 bars that a rapper raps. He says, I start from the end of my rap, then I go to the beginning of my rap, and then from my beginning of my rap, I reconstruct it and go and analyze it. And then what I do is like, it's like he proofreads it. It's just something about like, it's also something about like his being, he's Muslim. And so they read, right to left. And I feel like that was just his way of like, just, everyone has a method to their madness, but that was his thing. But for me personally, it was like hearing that record and then watching my cousin, like, just scratch the hell out of like Know the Ledge by Eric B. and Rakim. And I was like, I want to do that. And then my cousin's like, all right, cool. Teach you how to scratch this, that, and the third. It was just like a little baby scratch. And I was like, maybe around like 9 or 8. And like touching the turntables was like, I found my spark. Like that was it. Found my spark. And then my cousins were like, when you get a little bit older, we'll take you to this DJ battle in Carson. Well, for them, they called it Barson. So no need to explain. So with that said, they took me to like this like Masonic lodge. I was like, what the hell is this Masonic lodge, bro? Like, and it's like they couldn't rent out big spaces like the Roxy, whatever. They snuck me in because I was still underage. So I went in there and I'm like, I'm watching the two legendary crews, Legend Entertainment versus United Kingdom. And I'm watching, oh my God, it's like Icy Ice, E-Man. So Filipinos, if you already know about Filipino Americans, the thing that we are like really closely synonymous with in regards to hip hop is the DJ. The backbone of hip hop, as Eliminate would say. And from that point on, it's been like, I love this. It's cheaper than a therapist. Like having a crappy day, I'm gonna just mix records, scratch whatever, and then that was pretty much it, man. And like ever since then, it's just like I just knew. It's like, you know, when you find that spark, you're just kind of like everything just makes sense, you know, because it's just like, you know, with DJ Chuck the Old Soul, when he produces his beats and when he DJs too, and then with Eliminate, when he, you know, when he goes in and he spits that fire, you're just like, can you repeat that, dude? Like, what did you just say?
Love it.
Like, just even the simple lyrical wordplay where he was just like, we were in the backyard of my mom's, you know, my mom's house, and this guy was just like, Hadouken until you puking.
I love that.
What the hell? And I know Eliminate is a huge Street Fighter fan, and I'm just like, yeah, keep that. Ain't nobody else gonna say that.
Beautiful.
Because, yeah,
there's so much pop culture references in our rhymes that you've probably picked up when listening to the album.
Of course,
we're big video game heads, pro wrestling heads. Lord's got his New Japan hoodie on. You know, we're not afraid to be ourselves without question.
Yeah.
And that's,
you need to be. You can't be making music for other people. You got to do what entertains you if you're gonna spend the time making something, but also something that differentiates yourself.
Right.
So you guys are definitely on the right path, that's for sure. Eliminate, what about you? What's inspired you throughout life?
Man, where do I start? Well, you know, I grew up always listening to hip hop. My cousin, you know, does hip hop, and you know, for me also, you know, just my history of martial arts. You know, lifelong martial artist, but once I got to college, I kind of had to put that on the back burner to focus on, you know, studying. And where I got my start with hip hop, I'd always been rapping, but I don't think I started really taking it serious until I met DJ Chuck the Old Soul, you know, during that first freshman orientation. And I think like in high school, I took some detours from hip hop. You know, I still listen to it, but I started discovering other forms of music. So in high school, I was skateboarding a lot, and I just remember at like you know, in Palmdale, California, at this local, you know, punk show, this guy had a Wu-Tang shirt on, and you know, I didn't know the, you know, history of punk, so like I was gonna give him shit for it, like, hey man, like, you know, why are you wearing a, you know, punk shirt here? And then the guy straight up said, well, you know, the fact that you're jamming me up about, like, you know, a hip hop you know, shirt at a punk show shows you don't know shit about punk and you don't know shit about hip hop. And that just blew my mind. I was just like, oh crap.
Oh no.
Let me go back and do my homework, and you know, just read, or just discovering that, you know, connection made me appreciate both genres more. So, you know, I was still always writing, you know, raps or whatever, but I don't think I really started taking it serious until me and DJ Chuck the Old Soul went to this Roots show, and that just messed up my whole mind. And you know, after I saw everything that Black Thought was doing, I just said, man, you know, I want to do this. Like, you know, all the raps I wrote, like, let me throw them in the garbage and, you know, make all new ones, and, you know, just continue on this path of you know, self-discovery, self-expression, the self-expression that I had through martial arts, and channel it into my music.
I love that. I love
and I
that.
guess the connecting point we got to put in, I guess, as well, is how do we meet Lord? Because Lemonade and I met at the same college. So Marymount California University at the time was a 2-year university. Now it's a 4-year. I transferred to Loyola Marymount University, and I met Lord. And funny enough, with Lord, he originally was going to be my roommate. If you look at my living paperwork at that time, we didn't know each other.
Let's see the paperwork.
Nothing. Well, I got to dig it out. But we were supposed to be roommates.
Yeah, we were supposed to be roommates. And it was like, I was looking at his state name. I won't mention it. But I was like, who's this dude from the UK? And then he thought the same thing. He's like, who's this Lord from the UK? And it's like, because what ended up happening was I opted out of this living situation to do community outreach, because that was my passion. And it still is community outreach. You know, helping out with the less fortunate and like the homeless, and, you know, and basically after school programs. So it was called the CSA house, so the Center of Service and Action. So in order to live in that house, you had to do service. But lo and behold, it's just like, even though we weren't supposed to be roommates, because I remember sending that email to him, I think, or it was like a direct message on MySpace.
One of the two. You did reach out during that summer.
It was like MySpace, or I didn't even have Facebook yet.
Yeah, no.
it's that it was just like that time. And then like, so eventually I actually met him finally in the flesh in University Hall, and me just kicking it and waiting for my class. And it just so happens, like, shout out to our homegirl Vika. She was with him and they were just walking and talking and say, "Oh Lord, how are you?" Then, through a mutual friend, because we're in the same community outreach program. And so she was like, "This is my boy Chuck. He's very into hip hop." And then when I met this dude, he was like in the zone, bro. Like, yeah, I love hip hop. And
I
he's
probably
like,
had my headphones on that day.
no. It was like this, literally.
Yes.
This is you, bro. This is you, bro. And then you had like hip hop as mathematics or something. Like I still remembered it, and I was like, "Yo, this dude's."
I walked around with
hip-hop
headphones a lot during my college days.
I
Like,
love that.
It's funny because when I looked at him, and I was like, I love Jay Dilla, I love New Jobbies, I love that we don't even call lo-fi hip hop back
it was
then.
underground hip hop.
Underground hip hop, but it's like I said, rich white folks trying to call it a little something.
Mhm.
Anyways, long story short, I was like, this will look like Jay Dilla, like real, like he had the headphones like that, and then the baseball cap up top, and I was like, hey man, it's like, good to meet you, Chuck Dilla. That's what's up. Like, that's cool, man. He's like, that's good, Lord, yeah, man. And then like, again, he approached me about, how about to say, another month or so, and then we reconnected at U-Haul. But this time he had his roommate, which was also another Filipino American,
who ended up being our keyboardist for us. At one point, we were we looked like the Roots at a certain point before a traditional MC setup. But
man, we were a horn section away from Earth, Wind, and Fire.
We were. We were. So Lord came in the fold because at the time our drummer took a hiatus and we were going to do Battle of the Bands on campus. So I was like, okay, at least if we have a DJ in in the group, he can play my beats. The rest of the band can play with it, and we're off to the races. As a matter of fact, before even our drummer took a hiatus, I tried to get Lord in the band. I envisioned his role to be very much like Mr. Hahn in Linkin Park. He would add, the scratches and certain samples and so forth, but we just couldn't make the time happen. So when I came to him like, yo, man, I'm in a bind. I really need your help.
It was for Battle of the Bands.
Battle of the Bands. And that's when he officially joined the band, and we won.
Yeah, we did.
We won.
We took the title.
I'm not surprised.
We took the title, and then we says like, we are number one. This is the new world order of hip hop, if you understand. Wrestling. I was the third man. Like,
amazing.
I was Hogan. And the thing is, if you don't know about me, I'm much older. So I'm much older than Eliminate, and I just went back to school. Like, it was basically like I took a break, I traveled, I DJ'd, I worked. I was like, I'm not gonna do this college thing, and it just so happened, tried my luck, went to a local JC, and I was like, I'm just gonna do school but work. And then that's how I went to LMU. I got accepted. I was like, oh, they took me in.
There you go.
And then with Chuck, it's just like, yeah, it was just kind of like everything just happened so organically. It wasn't like I second guessed anything that he said. I didn't second guess anything that, until to this day, I'm like, yo, whatever, man. Like, next to Jesus, I got faith, bro. That's it. Cool.
His name
Here's my social security.
His name is not Lord just to be cute. Like,
no, it's my actual state name. It's,
and Eliminate stage name ain't for shits and giggles either. It means some things as well. So
it never gets to that point. I always, verbal judo is always the first line of defense. But whatever happens afterwards, it's not up to me. It's
it's up to you.
It's up to them. It's up to them.
But how it became the three of us was, I was saying earlier how it was a band. It was 8 of us, and for a good 4 years, it was 8 of us. You look at our old videos, you look at our old songs, and anybody's been in a big band, and you gotta, make time for everybody. You gotta, find, the median, and trying to make things work as a group. And the older you get, times change, priorities change. It's it's hard to keep a big group like that together. So over time, everybody's priorities changed, and it came down to the 3 of us. And after it got down to the 3 of us, Eliminate took a brief detour and moved to Japan, actually,
Nice.
and became a teacher out there.
Oh wow!
And after that, he came back. Came back, and that's how we really glued in, being the 3 of us. Said, let's make this work as the 3 of us. Let's go. And that's how you have the lineup of today. And the communication is better. I think the music is definitely better, and the money splits a lot better too.
100%.
Yeah, the money's better 3 ways than it is 8. So
a third.
That makes sense.
But yo, these are my brothers. I go back 15 years, 13 years with these guys. And I think that shines in the music that we're not just some guys getting together just making noise. Like there is a friendship, there is a brotherhood, there is a trust in our music, and you see it on stage too. You know, we have fun up there, and that's something we are looking forward to getting back to as things start to open up. The
No
last
backing
show,
tracks.
none. We
Really?
live.
No backing
Hell
tracks.
yeah. Okay.
Live. The last show we did, so 2019 was a breakthrough year for us. We went to Japan on tour. And to kind of connect to the Cruise Control, you saw the cover has, you know, kind of that Japanese labeling to it, because we went out there we went to Tower Records out there and was digging for music. We just love the look of that kind of that sticker. So it's a nod to the tour, actually, you know, that kind of that cover.
So this.
And we also found a record out there called Tokyo Nights, which is like a Japanese 80s funk record. So the cover and the font's a nod to it.
Sweet.
But we did that
If you
tour.
get a chance to hear that album, Austin, try to get a hold of it, man.
I will.
If not,
I mean, even
we'll email it to you, man.
I'll
'cause
send you
even
the
just the
link.
mentions that you guys have said in the past 40 minutes, I'm like, I got some musical homework on my hands, because I mean, I'm definitely like ingrained in the hip hop world enough, but not to the point where you guys are the masters and the geniuses. So
Just might
I'll
have to fight
definitely-
Godzilla for that album.
yeah,
King Kong. Or
gotta
King
do what you
Kong.
gotta do.
King Kong, because remember, if you saw the movie, he got beat up.
I didn't see it. Spoilers.
Oh, is that it?
The last, I actually bought this Godzilla figurine
Serious?
in Japan. There was the last
yeah.
little
That's
bit of money on my
That's
card.
right.
And when I grew up, my dad bought me a life-size Godzilla. You know, this is before the '98 American version, which I know a lot of people don't like. But
With John Reno, right?
yeah, giant Matthew Broderick. You know, I still, if it's on cable, I watch it. You know, but I had a big old Godzilla, so the childhood in me came back when I saw this little mini keychain Godzilla. Like, I gotta get that before I jump on the plane. But that tour, I think, was a breakthrough for us. There's a documentary on it on our YouTube channel. Please go check that out. But the last show we did when we came back is we did a show at the Troubadour. We did a headlining show in November.
Amazing.
And that was the last. And it's funny, we were promoting this show as, this is gonna be the last LA show we're gonna do for a while, so make sure you come out and see us. Little did we know.
Yeah, little did anyone know. Shit.
Yeah, that was gonna fit
that
the bill
wasn't-
and more so.
That wasn't a figure of speech. That was
Yeah.
literally the last show in LA.
But you know, saying our live show, we build our fan base off it. We have fun. It's one of our, you know, it's our favorite.
We
thing.
actually perform.
Yes.
You know, we're not a bunch of dudes just standing still. We move around. We don't use backing tracks. You know, all the songs we perform are, you know, songs we've written. So, hey, we slice, we dice, and I dare to say we got the best show in LA. So,
Say it.
hey, any group or artist that hears it, you know, this isn't beef. This is just, you know, put up.
Well, let's
I'm
get
with
some
Eliminate.
dates on the books here. I got to see you guys.
Hey.
Soon. We are definitely looking to get back to that soon. And to elaborate what Eliminate was saying, I know there's always that discussion in hip hop. Who's the best MC? Who's the best producer? Who's the best DJ? You know, there's always that list, that top 5 discussion always
Sure.
going on. And why all that is subjective? Because, you know, it just depends on your taste.
Mhm.
I will say, from a live standpoint, we're ready for Coachella. We're ready for Lollapalooza. We're ready for Glastonbury.
Hell yeah.
As 15 years as a group and just living and breathing about for a live show, we feel confident you can put us next to the biggest artists in the world and we will hold our own.
Language
Yep.
barrier and all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel that you guys definitely have the confidence to do that. And there's too many other, I'm not going to say bad acts, just non-deserving acts.
Oh, you're
that
right.
get these, no, that
Oh,
get
yeah, no.
these spots.
That's
Not going
probably
to
the
say any
most-
names.
That's the most
Not gonna-
diplomatic way of saying it, man.
Yeah,
know, But you know, it's about having confidence in what you do and working
exactly.
and being up. And I think, and here's the thing, I know Austin, as a journalist, you've seen this many times, artists who are very talented but don't have the work ethic. And then you have artists who are just terrible but will show up for early interviews.
Sure.
Will show up for sound check. Will do meet and greets. Will show up to the studio, and they're successful. The music business, honestly, is 90% work ethic, 10% talent. Like, that's just the honest truth.
It's true.
And with us, we're putting it both together as cats that are both talented and both have the work ethic, you know. So I believe, you know, it's either when you have the work ethic and less talent, you got, you know, I don't even want to call it 15 seconds of fame anymore because the internet makes it fast. Maybe it's 1 minute of fame. But
For real.
But if you have the work ethic and you have the talent, you have a career ahead of you. And that's what us. We're about longevity. We're about being here, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. If the Stones can do it, if you look at Run DMC, if you look
Exactly.
at all these other, groups, LL Cool J's being nominated, put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like hip hop has grown. It's
Yeah.
not just a young man's game anymore. There are OGs who were there early. So you're gonna have the young music, and you're gonna have people who are middle aged, and people who are a little bit older. So we plan to be here for a very, very long time, without question.
Good.
Yeah,
And
if you really think
mainly,
of-
yeah, the fact
yeah.
that you enjoy what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
work. It's work in a sense. But if you're getting the most enjoyment out of your life and you're doing it for the love of music, then it's not really work. It's just
Absolutely.
hanging with your bros, kind of, and making music
Yeah.
and bouncing ideas off of each other. One thing that I like to ask, sort of to begin wrapping things up, is for the person that's going to discover you from this, for the person that's going to watch this and have no idea who you are, what is a message that you would like to pass off to the first time listener as they, begin to check out your
good
music
one.
for the first time?
That's a
Good
real
one.
good one.
Very good.
I'd say the best compliment I heard from someone that listened to TBO was they felt like they met us.
Mhm.
After listening to like all the tracks, and that we really did our best and made a timeless album. Something that you could throw on. You may not have intended to listen to maybe the entire album, but it just kind of works out that way. So I feel that TBO really captures who we are. And yeah, like to the first time listener, you're getting an authentic experience. You're getting something that's real and something that's still fun. I think a lot of hip hop, it's just not fun. I mean, it's kind of like a
It's not.
popularity contest and pro wrestling at the same time. It's taking itself way too serious, and yeah, it's just not fun.
It's like an algorithm put together.
It was
made
created
for
in the
you.
boardroom.
The
A bunch of
Yes.
hashtags that
Mhm.
a bunch of buzzing hashtags that hey, like what can we do to treat this music like McDonald's, and
Exactly.
very disposable music that's not us. And I invite everyone to listen to the album.
There you
The
go.
almighty A word, algorithm.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was gonna say assholes.
It's both, man.
Man, I
You
read-
can use both.
Algorithmic assholes. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? For to chime in on what Eliminate said, it's about what comes from the heart reaches the heart, and that's the way we operate.
Mhm.
If it makes us feel good, if it makes us laugh, if it makes us thought provoking, it's gonna hit somebody else. And this album, including Cruise Control, it has its fun times. It has there's a lot of honesty in our there's a whole bunch of honesty in our record. There's commentary on our record on current times. It's a good mixture of, as Eliminate said, things can get too serious. Things need to be lighthearted at times, but it's also a good balance of we're very open about. I mean, even with a fun song like Cruise Control, I have the line that says, cops try to read my plays, always trying to trip, but then bust you because my shit is legit. I'm talking about racial profiling and a fun record. We slip.
Yeah.
We're not Public Enemy, and we're never gonna be Public Enemy. There can only be one Public Enemy.
Sure.
And but we still slip in those kind of commentary moments of these are the things we go through in our life on a daily structure, and we're not gonna sit there and lecture you and get on our soapbox on top of it about it. We're just gonna give you those little nuggets to, this is what's going on. Think about this. Look into that. We want to provide as much information as possible, but give the listener enough room to go, think for themselves and come to their own conclusions. We're not a preachy group. We're just here to tell our truth, and the chips may fall where they may.
Talk some shit.
So it's very, very much so. But it's you're gonna get a record by 3 lifelong friends, and you're gonna get a record that's about finding yourself and having a good time in the process of doing it. And that's what it is about us. You're going to get authenticity from Modern Flow Productions, always and forever.
I don't
Couldn't
know
have
what
said
else
it better.
to say. I don't
You've
know what else
convinced
to
me.
say. Honestly just in a tagline for whatever to put it all together.
Yeah, man.
Our hip hop is transparent. That's it.
There you go.
That's all you need to know. Like we're all about transparency. What you see is what you get. It's like we're vulnerable, you could be vulnerable with us. You're angry, you could be angry with us. You want to be sad, you could be sad with us. It's like they're saying that, sometimes a lot of people, especially in hip hop, it's a very like, macho, bravado, like, culture. But at the same time, it's like people are putting false fronts. That's why we always tell people we're transparent with ours. Like whatever the music that you feel and resonates with you, that's on you. Because end of the day, it's not also for everybody either. Because some people like that kind of stuff. They like the glamour, the glitz, they like that alternative universe that they're in because their mind state is already there.
Right.
Whereas with us, we're not trying to keep hip hop real. We're just trying to keep hip hop realistic because in a sense, we are who we are. You get what you get. That's it. No frills, no bells and whistles. You know, it's like we talk about gaming, we talk about hip hop, we talk about pro wrestling, UFC, whatever. But it's everything that we're all about and just how we can relate with other people who are listening to us. Because end of the day, it's like, that's the best way we could do it. Because they always say that you can never be always vulnerable to some people because to some people that's like blood to sharks. With us, on the other hand, we're not. It's a safe space. It's a safe space for each and everybody in the crowd. That's why when you go to our live shows, they vibe with us. In fact, for so many years, consistently, I've always heard the same thing. When they really get in deep into the music, they get an out of body experience, and not hip hop, music in general, whether it be EDM, rock, metal, it doesn't give you that out of body experience. It doesn't hit you in your gut and it's like the beat is moving with your heart. I don't feel that anymore because it just, to me, sometimes it sounds just too way too perfect, or it's just too loud, like they're trying to evoke
Mhm.
a vibe, or they're trying to like provoke something, like they're trying to conjure up something that you already know piss point blank is fake. And the one thing that we're realistic and transparent. That's it. That's HFP.
I love it. Chuck, Lord, Eliminate, I sincerely and from the bottom of my heart cannot thank you enough for this fantastic interview.
Thank you, man.
Don't tell the others,
Thank
but
you,
this
dude.
has hands down been one of the favorites that I've done so far.
Boom,
And
arigatou
I
gozaimasu.
don't tell them, seriously. Just
I
kidding.
told you we
But,
took
Your,
the belt.
your secret safe
I'm,
with us.
I'm being totally serious though. Like, I can't wait to see you guys in a show. I can't wait to experience that myself. And I feel like it's probably not too far off at this point. And for everyone else out there, Cruise Control is out, but check out the Black Odyssey as well, and check out the rest of their music that's on all the streaming platforms. It is 100% worth your while. You're going to get to know them as people, but you're also going to vibe out to some great music. Again, thank you guys so much. I can't wait for this to go live, and I sincerely hope you have a great rest of your day. I can't wait to speak soon.
Austin,
You as well.
thank
Thanks
you
a
very
lot,
much.
Austin.
Thank you.
This
Austin.
has been
Appreciate
great.
it.
Take care,
Rewrite
everyone.
music. Thanks, guys.
You too.
All right.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Thank you. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.